I am so hyped to introduce this next guest. He's one of our favorite compas, and you can find this Vato Loco on NFL Network. But right now, he's on Compas on the Beat. I am talking about the great Omar Ruiz. Omar, how are you? How did you like being called Vato? Did I sound kind of like Chargers coach Brandon Staley when he talks about Michael Davis?
Orale, yeah, that's that's good, man. No, that cracks me up. When Brandon Staley dropped the vato that first time, I think it was to you, Gilbert. That had me cracking up for days, man. And every time he talks about him, it's like he says it with more, the better accent every time he
Oh,
says
yeah.
it. And I think by the time the season is done, he's gonna be saying vato like rolling off his tongue like the rest.
He's gonna say it to us.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, ¿qué pasó, vato?
Hey Omar, every time Brandon says vato, he like emphasizes it. He's like really loud, like vato.
Vato.
And I just start laughing, and I can't help myself. I see myself on the Zoom just cracking up.
He's gonna start going down to Satanita over there down the street from Costa Mesa.
I feel like he's been practicing in front of the mirror just to say it at a Zoom press conference. But I see you there a lot, Omar, on the Zoom with Chargers, and we got to see you in person this past week at SoFi Stadium for the big feast, the food tasting at SoFi Stadium. Real quick, I just want to get your thoughts on it. Did you have a favorite food from the feast and the spread?
Yeah, I know everybody was talking about the tsunami tots. It's these tater tots that were dressed up with a lot of the similar toppings that you might see on sushi. With the different toppings and sauces and everything. And that was amazing. But I saw Fernando there with the big old burrito. Right when I got there, so I had one of those, and I was kind of stuffed the rest of the time. So I took home a lot of the different taste tests. One thing they sent me packing with, it was from the pizza shop. The pizza street. They were all labeled, Fairfax, all the different parts of LA and Southern California. From the pizza vendor, they had chocolate mousse, and I ate that on the way home, and it was some of the best chocolate mousse I've had in a long time. It had the sea salt and the caramel and everything like that. So the food was good. It's stadium food. It was hot dogs, hamburgers, burritos, nachos, and everything, but it was just dialed up a notch, so it was very tasty. And I was full the rest of the night, that's for sure.
Same here, Omar. Like I thought that'd be like a little sample of everything, but you got the full size of everything. So like they had to roll me out of there. I was extremely full. But Omar, now that I think about it, you've covered a lot of NHL hockey in your day. You're the host for a couple of shows at NHL Network. How do NHL teams do it? Do they hook it up like the NFL, the big spreads? What's the food like for the NHL landscape?
It's a good question. From what I remember, covering the NHL, it was a pretty good spread. I covered a lot of games in Columbus when I worked there for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I first started covering hockey in NorCal, so I did the San Jose Sharks a lot. And from what I remember, we always ate well. I don't remember specifically it standing out. It is stadium food after all, and it's good stadium food. But yeah, they treated us well. And then when I was working at NHL Network at the time, the studios were based out of Toronto. And let me tell you, if you could ever make it to Toronto for vacation or whatever, it is an awesome, awesome city. They have, so many different, culinary hotspots from places around the world. A lot of kind of like New York, I would compare it to New York or even LA, where there's just people from all over the world living in that city, and they dial it up a notch again with the food scene there. So, maybe not necessarily at the arena or in the studio, but just, as an aside, one of the great eating spots in North America definitely is Toronto.
Omar, before we talk NFL, obviously I haven't had breakfast at this point, so now I got a little hungry talking about food. How you've been around you've been around your hockey experience. You made a lot of stops before NFL Network. You went to San Diego State and Syracuse. You've covered UCLA and Ohio State University. You've done it all. How did those experiences prepare you for NFL Network?
Well, it's you're paying your dues. You know what I mean? It's you kind of grinding away, and sometimes small markets, and not that many people are watching you make mistakes that I would hope to never make now. And and you're just getting better at your craft. You're just constantly working at it, and little by little, day by day. And I've always had a lot of confidence, and so at every step of the way, I thought, I was like, man, I'm good. You know, I'm good for this level. You know, I'm ready for the next step. And you always think you're ready, even though you may not be. But you know, it's kind of like the confidence boost that you have to need to sort of swim upstream in this business. And but anyway, I look back now at some of those old reels, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was terrible. And so it's just, you know, having the confidence to succeed, but also the humility to know that you still have a long way to improve. And even now, I feel confident in my ability, my skills, you know, been on national TV, you know, a number of years now, but I still feel like there's a lot to improve in my abilities. So, you know, it's kind of that balance of having the confidence to succeed, but the humility to keep getting better.
What's the taco shop right next to San Diego State? Is it Trujillo's?
No, it's what was the name of it? It's changed names now. When I was there, it was Pancho's Tacos.
Oh, okay.
And it's right at the corner of College and Montecito.
He knows Gilbert. He knows exactly where I'm talking about. It's something else now, but like I that everybody always tells me about that place, and I went once, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually really good.
What is it called now, Gilbert? I mean,
I'm gonna have to look it up, but I can't.
It's changed names, but it's legendary.
Yeah,
we would go there, you know, obviously after you know, some fun nights, and and man, we would get down. It's funny, you look back now, like when you were younger,
it's called Trujillo's.
How much you ate? What is it called?
Trujillo's.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it was good. I haven't been there in a number of years, but yeah, that's a legendary spot and a throwback for sure.
Well, yeah, because they didn't close until like 4 a.m. or something like that. They knew that the kids were going to come by, and they waited.
Here's a funny story tying it back to you know, football back in those days. So I forget if it was my junior or senior year, but my cousin lived literally in an apartment right outside of the parking lot there. And that's where we went and watched the Raiders-Patriots tuck rule game. And so we're out there, you know, we're on his patio, you had, you know, outdoor TV and, you know, mostly Raider fans and obviously heartbroken by that game. And we went to, you know, Los Panchos. Los Panchos is the name of it. Yeah. So we went to Los Panchos after and drowned our sorrows in a whole plate of, you know, big table full of food with, you know, all the different nachos and burritos and everything we got. So that was one way to cure you know, some heartbroken Raiders fans over that game. That's for sure.
I feel it. Omar, now you're covering a lot of teams in the NFL. I mean, it feels like you're kind of the West Coast guy. We see you often covering the Chargers. Let's discuss the NFC and the AFC West divisions. And let's start with the NFC West. It seems like the Cardinals went a different route than everybody else. They got veteran, they got JJ Watt, they got AJ Green, they got some of these veteran guys. They have DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Do you feel like the way that the Cardinals went, do you feel like that can help them against a very tough division?
Yeah, I think it'll help them, but I think it'll also come down. You mentioned other teams in their division like the Rams, and it's a very similar story really across the NFL landscape. It's how the young unheralded players develop, you know, the guys that are on their rookie contract, not necessarily the first rounders, but maybe the third or fourth rounders that you would expect to fill in right away. Either they're going to be frontline starters like the Rams, you know, end up relying on some of those rookies to play right away because of how they've structured their team. And for the Cardinals, it'll provide depth. I mean, you know, injuries have taken their toll over the last couple of seasons, you know, whether it was Chandler Jones last year or a number of other injuries throughout the course of their, you know, Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray regime. But getting those, I think, veteran players will help them in the locker room. Last year, they were in position most of the year to make the playoffs and then folded a little bit down the stretch. So they feel that, you know, that presence might help with, you know, AJ Green, JJ Watt, you know, veterans to the playoffs as well, help get them over the hump. Rodney Hudson, you know, has played a number of games in the playoffs in both his previous stops. But I think they want to play a more physical brand of football. I think, you know, between all the quarterbacks and the high profile offenses in that division, you know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, how pretty, you know, maybe the offenses can be, but I think, you know, the Cardinals want to play a more physical brand of ball and maybe stand out in that division that way.
Yeah, Omar, it seems like every team that NFC West is going after Julio Jones. You see like a hot rumor or a trade rumor about, you know, Julio maybe going to the Cardinals or the Rams or even the Niners and the Seahawks. But it feels like the front runner might be Seattle, but Russell Wilson kind of making a push for getting, better protection, but maybe, it'll be better if he gets Julio Jones and he kind of like, okay, I'm okay now. Do you think if Julio Jones goes to Seattle, are they kind of the legit number one team, or whoever gets Julio Jones in the NFC West, are they the top team in the division?
Yeah, I would say if that's where Julio ends up, then definitely he'll tilt the scales, because I think it's all right around even right now. I think Cardinals are maybe a step below with a lot remaining to be seen. How much gap again Kyler Murray can make? Obviously, Rookie of the Year his first year, Pro Bowler last year. So if he truly makes another huge leap, he can be ultimately a difference maker. But I think those other rosters with the 49ers just a couple of years removed from the Super Bowl and getting everybody back healthy this year, obviously will be key. And then the Seahawks, Rams kind of been knocking on the door the last couple of years. So I think a presence like Julio Jones, specifically to your question about the Seahawks, given that they already have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, the mismatch problems that would create, especially with Shane Waldron there, the new offensive coordinator coming up from the Rams. They get back to running the football, a little more balanced attack. And then you have those trio of receivers with Russell Wilson. I would probably put them not only the favorites in the NFC West, but perhaps in the entire NFC.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And that is a scary thought to think about DK and Julio on the same team, Omar. But let's shift over to the AFC West, and I'll keep this one simple. Can the Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Because it seems like every year the Chiefs are winning that division with Patrick Mahomes. But do you think maybe the gap is a little closer, a little tighter now, or maybe it's a legit race in the AFC West?
I don't know. The gap is closer. I don't know if that makes it a more legit race. I think the story for the Chargers will be simple. They stay healthy. I think they can contend. I think they have that kind of talent on their roster. I think with the Broncos and Raiders, it's kind of like what I said to start with, the development. Do we see the development of some of those players that we don't know about right now make that leap this season? I think for the Chargers, that talent is there. It's, can they stay healthy? The Chiefs obviously reloaded on offensive line. I think it's funny. A lot of people think, oh, the Buccaneers discovered the way to beat the Chiefs and they found this blueprint. I was like, they didn't find the blueprint. It's the same story in football. You attack the quarterback from the edge, obviously you're going to have a lot of success. It's just nobody could really do it when they had Pro Bowl tackles there, Schwartz and Fisher. Those guys were hurt then. They reloaded their offensive line and really attacked it, bringing in Orlando Brown and obviously some of the other couple moves they made in the offseason to protect Patrick Mahomes. So now that they've shored that up, I think, the Chiefs will be just as scary as they've always been, if not even more so, now that they had some of their weaknesses exposed and forced them to address that. But I think if anybody has closed that gap, it's the Chargers. But like you guys know, it's really been the story of their seasons the last few years. If they can stay healthy, they'll be right there. They showed it at the 2018 season, how dangerous they can be. But if they get snake bitten again, then, they can fall pretty far behind.
Yep, I definitely agree with that, Omar. I mean, we've been around the team for a while, so we understand how that goes. Before we let you go, Omar, I've always looked up to you because of the fact that you're a father who has 3 daughters. What does it mean to you? I mean, and Kobe was kind of the guy, like Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant was the one that started the whole girl dad thing. What has it meant for you to be a girl dad?
Well, it's been awesome. I mean, it's the greatest thrill of my life, to be these girls' dads, and they're such great girls. And I think the thing that I always raise when people ask me is they always say, do you wish you had a boy? You're going to go for a boy, and all this, and I think similar to Kobe is that I sort of treat my daughters, or I don't necessarily think about them sort of being daughters versus sons. I just sort of treat them like I would raise them like I would, if they're sons. We go play baseball in the backyard, we shoot hoops, we do all that sort of stuff. Now, every now and again, they'll say, hey, Dad, can we take a break and go play with the Barbies? That's probably something different, unique to girls. But otherwise, yeah, it's, they're great kids. They're smart. My wife has a lot to do with that. So, mostly I should say, but as she walks into the room, but yeah, it's a lot of fun being that girl dad, and I just can't wait to see what kind of women they become, and hopefully we're kind of creating leaders for their generation, and I can't wait for them to start playing organized sports and see what they cling to or gravitate towards. And it's been a lot of fun so far. And I think we're only just beginning as they get into the, like I said, formal activities and, dance or, gymnastics or whatever they decide to do. I can't wait for that too. Next chapter.
Gilbert, when he said organized sports, I saw that smile on his face. He can't wait for them to start playing sports.
And
Coach Omar, El Jefe. I have my hat already.
And Omar, you're doing it the right way. I saw you took your youngest daughter to a Dodger game for the first time. Not the Padres down south. It's got to be the Dodgers, right?
Bro. Yeah. I'm a huge Dodger fan. I went to my first game when I was 10 months. I was born in downtown LA, lived in Oxnard where my dad's from till I was 10. And we moved to Sacramento when I was 10. And by that time, the Dodgers were just coming off that 1988 World Series. And like I said, I'd been going to Dodger games since before I was 1. And sort of my loyalty was already cemented. And I knew very well about the Dodgers Giants rivalry, and then moving to NorCal and then living in San Diego for my years at San Diego State, learned about the Dodgers Padres rivalry, which is as strong as ever right now. But yeah, the whole NFC West, being a Dodger fan, it's pretty fun. And my in-laws live in Arizona. They give me crap about the Diamondbacks. I got friends that live in Denver, and Rockies really haven't been much, but when they have had a good team, you get crap. It's like the Dodgers are magnets for all the other NFC West teams or NL West teams to be haters on the Dodgers. But raising my girls right, Fernando.
No, I know. And I mean, I'm from San Diego, so I have to give Gilbert crap. I tell him, I'm like, bro, us Fernandos, we do stuff differently. And that kid, that El Nino, is just he's getting fired up. He loves playing the Dodgers, though. Yeah, he loves playing against the Dodgers.
It's if you guys remember that playoff series last year, if they were to meet in the playoffs again, in a 7-game series, hopefully this time, that's going to be fireworks. And you already see a little bit of the animosity there. Not as much as maybe the Astros right now, but I think if the Dodgers and Padres kind of keep it up, this can be one of those explosive rivalries that we see for a long, long time.
No, definitely, and it feels like that's where it's headed. It feels like that's the ultimate clash is headed for NLCS, Padres and Dodgers, which would just be fireworks all around. But Omar, we appreciate you coming on. You bring the fireworks to NFL Network. I got to ask you one quick question. Yeah. When you first got to NFL Network, I know once you get up there, you have to have a story where something freezes you up, or do you have one of those from right when you got to NFL Network, or no?
No, not really. I think I was so focused on kind of like proving myself that, you kind of get locked in all the time. A story of me freezing or whatever. Literally last year in Green Bay, it was for the Packers and Seahawks playoff game. So it's early January. We were broadcasting. There was a Sunday game, so we were out there on Saturday as well, for the Good Morning Football show and the game day mornings. We're out there for like 7 hours, and it's, -7 wind chill. And I'm doing the best I can. I'm layered up, got my parka, got my beanie and everything. And I'm doing my report. And it was the first time, it's funny you mentioned first time since I've been at NFL Network where my mind went blank. Like I just forgot what I was saying. And like, it took me a couple beats. And I think I just threw to whoever I had to throw to, but it's literally my brain froze. And I regrouped, got some more coffee or whatever. And when I watched it back, it wasn't as bad as it felt when I was performing it. But that was a case where my brain literally froze, and it was like a holy crap type of moment.
Us compas don't do well in the cold. Gilbert avoids the cold at all points. He doesn't like it. I know.
Exactamente, yeah.
Mexico is all hot.
And the irony is my first job in TV was in Syracuse, and I was primarily a morning news reporter for the NBC station there while I was finishing up at Syracuse. And
at 4 a.m.
And so I was out there. It was like -30 wind chill out there in front of the bus stop. The guy that was saying, "Listen, parents, don't have your kids go to the bus stop." Meanwhile, I'm freezing, and you're like you're in the TV truck, with the heater until like 30 seconds before you have to be on, because, you expose yourself, to any more than a few minutes there. So that was definitely training that I know I could do it, but obviously being out at Lambeau Field for like 7 hours in that negative, it took its toll that one time. And, I paid the price that one live shot there.
Well, I'd pay to watch Gilbert out there in that wind chill just because I know I don't think he could handle it. Could you, Gilbert?
No, I'm about the loco, but I'm not that crazy.
Omar, we definitely appreciate you jumping on with the Compas. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'm Omar D. Ruiz on Twitter, Instagram. What else am I on there?
Are you on TikTok?
No, but I see Gilbert putting his TikToks out there, and he's going to inspire me.
Get on it. Tom Brady got on it.
Yeah, that's what I saw. This whole thing. So, I've seen Gilbert do a couple of TikToks now, football related. So maybe that's going to be my 2021 goal. So keep inspiring Gilbert, the older generation.
Yeah, follow me, Omar. When you get on there, make sure to follow me first, okay?
All right, that
Bro,
sounds good, man.
give him your handle. You can't just tell him follow me.
Gil.sportsbeats. I was going to say .com at TikTok.
There you go.
Appreciate it, Omar. Thank you so much. Guys, we got some more stuff coming up. Don't go anywhere.